No, it sucks. What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and as you've seen from the very brief intro, I didn't have the best of times testing out the new Scorching Sands Shadow Entei in the Great League. It's probably not too surprising given the last time I tried this trio together, I also struggled to get any wins. Last time Shadow Entei was by far the worst out of the trio, this time around I think they're all pretty much as bad as each other, so you can see that as a small win for the Entei. I tried a variety of different moves across these three Pokemon, and I tried adjusting the order, but unfortunately they just don't cover each other's weaknesses. So no matter how you set the team up, there's about 100 different Pokemon that can easily core break the entire team. So with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What's the worst legendary trio in Pokemon Go right now? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle lead, Shadow Raikou into Medicham. Now the thinking behind Raikou in the lead was that I could use it like a lot of people use Defense Form Deoxys, go straight for that Wild Charge and then just dip into my Suicune here, clear the debuff straight away, but unfortunately it takes the same number of turns for Medicham to make it to an Ice Punch, so it doesn't really work at all. As well, we debuff our defense, not our attack, so I have to shield the Ice Punch. I swap into my Suicune, the opponent banks a ton of energy before swapping into Lantern, and this is already game over. In these first few battles I was running Snarl and Hydro Pump. Honestly, here I should have read that they're just going to go for a full Spark Farm Down and committed to a second Hydro Pump, but I don't think it makes much of a difference here. We might have got them a little bit lower here, but I'm going to come in with the Raikou. I kind of need the Volt Switch damage, so I do shield, knowing they've got back-to-back Surfs, and the Volt Switch does go through. The Surf actually doesn't quite take us out there. Not sure if they undercharged, maybe they did, but it doesn't matter. We're going to be losing this game. Entei comes in, Dynamic Punch, nearly one-shots us. They come in with a Gligar just to show off their third Pokemon. They get the Wing Attack Farm Down against both the Entei and the Raikou, and we do lose that game, and we were not even close to winning. But into the next game, we see Raikou up against Medicham. This time around, I'm going to swap into my Suicune, trying to catch an Ice Punch, not able to do so, and they've got another Lantern in the back, so I just concede the match straight away, and we actually went 0-5 in our first set with this team. Now into the next game, we see a Sandslash in the lead. This time I'm running Thundershock, so I'm a bit faster to make it to the Wild Charge, but again we get that at the same time the opponent makes it to an Ice Punch. So either I shield this or I just let this go through, and I will actually let it go through. I know that I can come in with the Entei, but the opponent swaps out immediately there. Really unfortunate for me because I don't even get one Fire Spin worth of damage onto that Sandslash. We now come in with the Suicune, we catch the Aerial Ace. But this would be where it would be really nice if we were running Ice Fang, because I could probably just shield once and fully farm them down. But here, we're going to go for the Ice Beam. Ice Beam will easily be enough damage to take out the Shadow Gligar here. And the opponent's going to come in with another Lantern, and they will get a very nice farm down. And once again, it's game over for me, unless Entei can make it to 2 Scorching Sands. But unfortunately, with Fire Spin, energy generation is not that fast. Scorching Sand is also 50 energy, I do believe, and even with the attack debuff, it's not going to help us, as they will make it to back-to-back Surfs before we get to a second Scorching Sands, and this is still going to be enough damage to easily take out the Shadow Entei, and we lose yet another game. So into the next game, we see Raikou into Lantern. So I'm sick of seeing Lantern, but at least we're seeing it in the lead, where Raikou does have the best matchup of the three. I think with Volt Switch, we probably do win this matchup, at least in the 1 shields and the 2 shield scenario. But unfortunately, Thundershock damage just doesn't quite add up enough here. You're going to see Wild Charge. Well, it grabs the shield in this matchup here, so you're not going to see the damage straight away. We go for a second Wild Charge, and we grab both shields from the opponent. This is not great because I have the double shield as well. And they're going to go for another Surf. I will be able to outpace them to the next move. We go for that Wild Charge straight away. And Wild Charge doesn't quite take them out, but we do get the Thundershock farm down, but they come in with a Bastiodon. This is not ideal for me, but we're running Scorching Sands on our Shadow Entei, so let's find out how much damage it does. We come in, we're taking a lot of damage from the Smackdowns, but we make it to the Scorching Sands, just one fast move before they make it to a Stone Edge, but it still doesn't quite take them out there. I swap into my Suicune, catching the Stone Edge. Probably shouldn't have done that, to be honest, and they come in with a Medicham. Now they're running Power Up Punch, not great for me as they can boost their attack straight away. I'm going to commit to the Ice Beam. I'm actually going to overfarm, throw on the CMP tie, but Suicune loses CMP up against Medicham. I did not know that, and unfortunately they can just fully counter, farm down the Entei, and take that game. So not a great start for us, but into the next game, we're going to lead with Suicune this time around. The opponent swaps into their Lantern. And again, Lantern, don't like to see it, but we can at least align the Raikou with it. So here we're going to shield the move They go for Thunderbolt. I have no idea why. That was such an odd play by the opponent. But now we can go for the Wild Charge. Wild Charge barely doesn't take them out there, unfortunately. I have to throw a second one. Don't really want to commit both shields straight away. And now they come in with Galarian Stunfisk, but I'm barely able to make it to a Shadow Ball, which will do some very nice damage, or grab a shield from the opponent, and it does grab that shield. Now we come in with the Suicune. I can just let this move go through. I should be able to live an Earthquake, since it is now dealing less damage than in previous seasons. The opponent catches the Bubble Beam onto their Ninetales, but that's fine with me. Debuffing their attack, we can now very comfortably live this, and I will be able to fully Fire Spin, farm down this a load of Ninetales, and come out with a charge move loaded. Now we could boost our attack or go for Scorching Sands to potentially debuff their attack, and we go for the Scorching Sands. They let it go through for whatever reason. I don't know why, but I'm not going to complain. I've had an awful time using this team so far, and I finally do pick up a win. You can see I got 2 wins there just because of the order of the wins that I'm showcasing. But into the next game here, we're going to see a Shadow Raikou into Swampert. So not great. Another Pokemon that does core break my team. We're actually going to stay in this matchup though. Go for the Wild Charge on the CMP tie with the second Hydro Cannon. Honestly, I probably should just let the Raikou go down, but I'm not. I'm going to stay in. I'm going to double shield the Raikou here, and then I will be able to go for another Wild Charge. This probably grabs the final shield from the opponent, and if it does, I will swap into my Suicune. And once again, just got to hope that they don't have a Lantern in the back. Now, the opponent does make it to the Earthquake. Earthquake, not going to be enough damage to take us out, so I will overfarm in this matchup, go for an Ice Beam, and this will be taking out the Swampert. And the opponent's going to come in with the Medicham. They get the counter farm down, and once again, with no shields remaining, we're just going to be losing this game. Unfortunately, Entei can do literally nothing here. I'm not even going to make it to a charge move before they make it to the Psychic or the Dynamic Punch. And Psychic nearly one-shots us. They get the counter farm down. They can counter farm down my Raikou as well. They actually swap into Noctowl just for the sake of it. And they do get the Wing Attack farm down, and they take that game. But into the next game, a much better lead for us as we lead into a Gyarados. But unfortunately, running the Thunder Shock instead of Volt Switch, they probably could just stay in and double shield their way through that matchup. But here, I'm able to land a Shadow Ball up against the Medicham. They come back in with the Gyarados, and this is amazing for me as we can now grab the shield from the opponent. We're going to come in with the Suicune, go for a one shield farm down with the Ice Fangs, and hopefully Entei can at least close out one game in these battles here. As we get the Ice Fang farm down, they've got a Granbull in the back, and finally Entei can do something. Gonna go for a Bubble Beam first, debuffing their attack, also grabbing a shield. We come in with the Entei, and the opponent is just gonna concede the match there. So we kind of hard countered their team there, but I'm happy to take that win regardless. And into the next game, another great lead. We see a Pelipper in the lead. Once again, would prefer if we were running Volt Switch, but the opponent safe swaps into Ferrothorn, and this is where Entei is going to come in clutch here. We can live a Thunder, not that comfortably, but we will get the full Fire Spin farm down. Unfortunately, both moves will be resisted here, so this Flame Charge isn't going to do too much. Probably could have gone for the Scorching Sands, try and debuff their attack, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to come in with the Raikou. We've actually got a Wild Charge loaded, well, nearly, so we go for it straight away here, hoping that I will be able to swap into my Suicune to catch the potential Weather Ball, but they actually swap into Lantern, and I cannot swap out of this matchup now. Gonna go for the Wild Charge. Wild Charge does connect, it does big damage, and now I swap. I catch the Surf onto my Suicune. This is resisted damage, but I think they did overfarm, so they will make it to another charge move before we make it to the Bubble Beam. And at this point, I probably should start shielding here. We shield up the Surf. Honestly, I should go for the Bubble Beam, but I overfarm, and they make it to another Surf, and I think I've just thrown away this game. And I have done exactly that as they come in with the Pelipper, and they're going to make it to back-to-back Weather Balls before we get the Thunder Shock farm down. And even though I hard countered both their lead Pokemon and their save swap, we end up losing that game, which is quite embarrassing. But once again, it was Lantern that just completely screwed me over. But GG's to that opponent. Into the next game, we see Steelix in the lead. Not ideal for us, but I mean, I'd prefer to see it here than up against my Raikou. They're going to go for a Breaking Swipe. We're going to go for a Bubble Beam. This is going to do literally no damage whatsoever, but it will debuff their attack. And I will be able to live the next Breaking Swipe and make it to another Bubble Beam. But actually, I don't really want that. So instead, I'm going to swap out into my Entei, try to go for the Fire Spin farm down, but we still don't get there before they make it to yet another Breaking Swipe. So Breaking Swipe, going to debuff my attack. I choose to no shield. We're going to go for a Scorching Sands on the CMP tie with the Surf here up against the Jellicent. And Scorching Sands doesn't do that much damage. We get the attack drop here, and I'm actually going to shield in this matchup because I do have quite a lot of energy. I will make it to a second Scorching Sands here up against the Jellicent, hoping this will be grabbing a shield from the opponent, but they let it go through, and that's not ideal for me at all. And unfortunately, I'm just going to let the Entei go down. Surf takes us out. We can come in with the Raikou. We are running Volt Switch in this battle. And the opponent is going to come in with a Gligar, and that's not that bad for me, especially when they go straight Aerial Ace. Not sure what they're thinking here, but we can let that go through. Come in with the Suicune. They swap into Steelix, but we get the Ice Fang farm down, and we come out with a Bubble Beam loaded. This is going to debuff their attack, meaning we can stay in this matchup for even longer with the Suicune. And they actually throw a charge move here, meaning I get one extra Ice Fang through for free, and I'm able to Ice Fang, farm down the Gligar, and take that game. So I think that Gligar matchup was the main reason I decided to put Ice Fang on my Shadow Suicune, but that was the only time we did align it. Now into next game we see a Stunfisk in the lead. This is awful for me. Gonna go straight for the Shadow Ball. Luckily for me, they are over farming, and I can now just let this move go through. Unfortunately, Mud Bomb isn't quite going to take us out there, and they will get a very nice Thundershock farm down, but not before I make it to a Wild Charge. This is triple resisted, but the opponent does respect the damage there, thinking maybe it was another Shadow Ball, but unfortunately, Unova and Stunfisk just completely destroys my entire team. We come in with the Suicune. I'm going to shield straight away. They actually bait with a Mud Bomb. Are you kidding me right now? And now I'm going to let the next move go through. They go for the Discharge. That does big damage here. Can we get the Ice Fang farm down? Yes, we can indeed. They come in with Scrafty. We're just going to go for an Ice Beam here. They're probably going to shield this up, but I don't really care. I'd rather guarantee some big damage if they let it go through. We now come in with the Entei. They throw on alignment. I'm going to shield this up. They go straight for the foul play, and the opponent's got a Alolan Marowak in the back. Is Scorching Sands going to be enough damage to take them out from this range? No, it's not, and unfortunately they do make it to a move, and even if they go for Bone Club, it probably takes us out, but Shadow Bone easily takes us out there. They can Fire Spin, farm down the Suicune, and we lose yet another game. But GG to the opponent there. Into next game, we see Nidoqueen in the lead, and this is just not good whatsoever. We swap into our Entei, gonna shield the first move, and then I can go for either Scorching Sands or Flame Charge. Honestly, was a bit confused about which to go for here. If I went for Scorching Sands and got the debuff, I probably do make it to another charge move, but unfortunately we're not going to make it, but the opponent does throw their energy there. Not probably sure how much energy we had there, so they do go for that Poison Fang, taking us out. We're going to come in with a Suicune. Can we get the Ice Fang farm down again? Yes, we can. And the opponent's going to come in with a Miltank. Now, this isn't too bad for us, but if they're running Thunderbolt, then it's not going to be great. So we go for the Bubble Beam straight away, debuffing their attack. They don't farm to the Thunderbolt, so this will just be a Body Slam, which we do live fairly comfortably. I swap into my Raikou, and they've got a Trevenant in the back. I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball straight away, and if we do land this, it will easily one-shot them, so the opponent does respect the damage here. Now I'm going to shield this up. I will be able to outpace them to the next Shadow Ball, and hopefully the opponent will overfarm with their Miltank up against my Raikou. So we go for the Shadow Ball, taking out the Trevenant. They come back in with the Miltank, and they throw at the perfect timing there just as we reach the Wild Charge. Body Slam takes us out. We come back in with the Suicune. We can live a Body Slam. I'm hoping that we make it to the Ice Beam in time. It's going to be close. But no, they're already at another Body Slam, and this Body Slam will be taking out the Suicune, and we do unfortunately lose yet another game. But GG's to that opponent there. Into next game, we see Wigglytuff in the lead, so not great for us, but I can probably just play out the Zero Shield scenario here. Go for a Bubble Beam with my Suicune into the Wigglytuff, and the opponent is going to shield up the Bubble Beam, which is fine with me. They swap into Lantern. I was very slow to swap out there because, unfortunately, at the time, I was letting my brother in, so I had to get up quickly, and I wasn't really looking at my phone. I was just tapping. But we're going to shield up the Surf here. I will be able to make it to the back-to-back Wild Charges. They don't throw straight away, so I can just go for the second one straight away here. I don't really want to use another shield, so we go for it here, and the opponent is going to shield up the Lantern now. At this point, I'm happy to let Raikou go down. We know Entei can do fairly well up against the Wigglytuff, so I'm going to come in with the Entei here. But unfortunately, they make it to another Surf here, so I have to use my final shield up against the Lantern. We can get the Fire Spin farm down. The opponent is now going to come back in with the Wigglytuff, go for a charge move straight away, but it's going to be resisted. Disarming Voice doesn't do too much. They come in with Machamp. I'm really slow to click on the charge move there. I get incredibly low from the counter damage, but we one-shot them with the Scorching Sands. We swap back into the Suicune, going for a Bubble Beam. This will debuff their attack and hopefully allow me to make it to one final charge move with the Shadow Entei, and we do barely get there. Flame Charge takes out the Wigglytuff, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see a Shadow Raikou into a Alolan Marowak. So we do have Shadow Ball coverage, but unfortunately they can just go straight Bone Club and probably win this very comfortably. So I'm going to shield up. They go for the Bone Club. I'm now going to go for one extra Thunder Shock, go for that Wild Charge. Wild Charge grabs the shield, and we're going to go for the second Wild Charge straight away, and then probably just swap into my Suicune here. So we go for the Wild Charge. No, I actually swap into my Entei in case they have a Lantern, because all shields are now down. Going to let the Shadow Bone go through. That does a lot of damage. Going to go for the Scorching Sand straight away. This will be taking out the Alolan Marowak, and the opponent is going to come in with a Venusaur here, which is really not great for me, because if they're coming in with a Venusaur, they're clearly very weak to fire in the back, but unfortunately my Entei is now gone. We come in with the Suicune. I should be able to shield once and fully Ice Fang, farm them down. So they go for the Frenzy Plant, and they've got an Alolan Sandslash in the back, and the one time we could have saved the Entei there for their backline, and it just doesn't go to plan whatsoever. So we're going to go for that Bubble Beam, debuffing their attack. I'm hoping we can get a 0-turn swap, come in with the Raikou. Well, actually, no, they make it to another charge move already. But this is just going to be an Ice Punch, so I swap into my Raikou, but unfortunately it is not a 0-turn swap, and once again we are outpaced by 1 turn to make it to the Wild Charge. They take us out there, and I'm just going to let them take me out with the Suicune there, and we do unfortunately lose yet another game. But into the next game, we see Medicham in the lead, and this is just not great for our entire team. Gonna stay in, just go for a Bubble Beam straight away, throwing as they do reach the Psychic, but they don't throw straight away. We actually grab a shield with the Bubble Beam, so honestly, the amount of times I lost, I got to a very, very low elo. And unfortunately, they don't have a Lantern this time around. They've got a Greninja, which is really bad for the Entei, but they do overfarm, potentially not knowing if they won CMP, so they do play it safe. They build up to the back-to-back Night Sashes. They go for the first one. Luckily, no boost, and we do have 2 shields, so what I'm going to do is just come in with my Suicune straight away, let this move go through, hopefully no boost, and then hopefully they're in range where I can double shield and just fully Thunder Shock farm them all the way down. And if I can do that, then I'll be in a really good position here. Obviously, we don't know what their third Pokemon is. It might be a Steelix or something that completely walls the Raikou, but I double shield. The opponent comes back in with the Medicham. We overfarm as much as possible, throwing on the CMP tie, and Shadow Ball takes out the Medicham. They come back in with Greninja. We get the farm down, and it's a Registeel in the back, and I can make it to back-to-back Wild Charges. The first one is going to do over 50% of their health, and the second one will easily be enough damage from this range to take out the Registeel, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see Suicune into Dugong, so not great, especially when I am running Ice Fang as the fast move, as it is double resisted here. But I'm just going to let the first move go through, and then I will swap into my Raikou. I know obviously that's my hard response, but I'm thinking that Entei with shields up can probably still do fairly well up against them. But here we bait out a Bastiodon, not ideal for me, also not the best timing either, but I did get very close to 100 energy, so I kind of had to throw at that point. We go for the back-to-back Wild Charges, but they can just let both of these go through and fully smack down, farm me all the way down. Now we do have a Bubble Beam loaded on the Suicune, so I'm going to come in and throw it straight away. Hopefully they just let this move go through here and they don't shield. And that's exactly what they do. They let the Bastiodon go down, but they've got a Hitmontop in the back. Now, I don't expect them to go straight for a close combat, so I will let the move go through. And we do live the triple axle. We go straight for the Bubble Beam. Unfortunately, this probably won't grab a shield from the opponent, and it doesn't. We swap into the Entei, and with a slight energy advantage, I'm hoping we can outpace the Dugong here, but it's going to be close. They go for the Icy Wind bait. Pretty predictable there. I think they're probably just going to spam straight Icy Wind in this matchup, but we're going to boost our attack with the Flame Charges, and hopefully we can just Fire Spin, farm them all the way down. We're going to shield once again, but once again they're going to bait with the Icy Wind, debuffing my attack. Honestly, should have gone for the Flame Charge straight away here, but I'm hoping the Switch Clock will come up in time, but it's not going to come up in time. We can't swap out, and at this point, this will finally be the drill run, taking out the Entei. They come back in with the Hitmontop, counter farm down the Suicune, and we lose that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.